Hi Sandra, just thought I'd talk you through these last kind of changes that I've been working on. So I've been working on your plan to sort of work out those kind of steps and the wall and etc. And just sort of making sure it all works still. I just wanted to double check with you about these sizes and everything. So I've got all these guidelines on here still, and I wanted to show you what I've done. I've been sort of jiggling this around a bit. So obviously with the step coming to the internal floor height, we need a little bit more room. So previously, for example, this area here, the patio just came to here and the circle feature was closer to it. So what I've done here is given us a little bit more room and staggered these edges, which I kind of like now, just to make sure there's enough room here of paving so it's not just step into the next feature. So I've extended this area of paving out to allow for the extra step, and I've moved the circle feature up to the right just because it makes sense to me to have this centrally, and it would kill my OCD tendencies if it's not lined up. So I'm happy with that. I've been playing about with that for a few hours, and I'm sort of happy that I'm ready to present that back to you. It's still a long border, it's still a long enough focal point, and like you say, you've got plenty of room there, so why would you there's no point having this all squeezed in if you've got the room. So that's all. I'm happy with that, and then I'll talk about the sizes in a minute. And then just overall here, I want to show you that I've sort of increased this slightly, and I've made this a steeper curve, just to give us a little bit more room here to walk through so that it feels more spacious as you're coming around these steps. And I've extended the patio area out. Just visually it looks better now that we've got the sort of 3 steps out, and the proportions need to sort of all balance again. So I think you can see here from the previous one, I've extended this and made this a larger semicircle around the water feature to give us sort of more paving space around where you're going to be sitting. If in fact that is where you're going to sit, I've kind of assumed that you'd put the table and chairs there. You might want them over this side, I'm not sure, but there's always room if you wanted additional seating over here now that we've removed those raised beds, which yes, I am pleased about, so thanks for that. So yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to ask you. So we've got a big expanse here now, which you could have like little sofa seating. This is obviously a kind of dining table at the moment. You might want some more relaxed furniture over this side, or if you don't want extra furniture here, then I was sort of toying with the idea of making a few other little cutouts of the paving for planting. So just at ground level, like we have here, we've got some paving slabs removed in this corner to create this little stepped effect, and you could do that within this patio as well, or you might want to include more occasional furniture there. So let me know what your thoughts are there. Yeah, this comes out a lot further and these come out a lot further. So what I've done, I must admit, I was a little bit confused with some of the dimensions here, just looking at your email. The top steps now are 180 deep and 130 at the sunroom. So we think the top step could be 150 and then 30 after that. I've actually, I'd just like to hear your feedback on here. So I think what you meant by that was that all the steps come out by 180. So I've kept that the same. So at the moment, the entire kind of steps would come out, as you can see there, top step, second, third, down for the fourth. 180 would be this sort of whole expanse of the staircase, if you like. And then I feel like it's really important it's absolutely fine on steps to have the top landing area deeper, and that makes sense. That's nice actually to have that if the room allows, but it really makes sense to have the next steps after that exactly the same width. So I hope I've got that right, because I was a little bit confused that perhaps you wanted one slightly bigger and another one smaller, which does, funnily enough, when you walk down a set of steps, if they're not all the same pace that you're travelling at, it becomes a bit of a trip hazard. It's a funny sort of thing. It's okay on the top landing, but then these must be equal, so whatever we decide. So I've kind of taken it as that we would try and go out at 180 for the entire expanse. And then I've gone to 90 centimetres for the top. So this top area would be level with your internal floor height. So that's going out at internal floor height. And then I've gone out a 45 and a 45 to make up the total of 180. That might look like I've missed one step out there, but of course the last step down is off the end of there, if that makes sense. So you're stepping out at internal floor height, 1 step down, 2 step down, 3 steps down to the final patio height. And I think if you sort of look at 45 centimetres on the ground, it kind of makes sense. It's a nice kind of tread. It's nice and wide. It's wide enough. It's not too small, and it works here. And that means that the total width would be 180. So what I've done with this step design is I've just squared it off now, just to make it more simple. We could wrap it around the side of the house here, but I don't think it's necessary here. I think actually just unifying this as one step staircase leading down there makes sense. However, on the sunroom, I've kind of redesigned that a bit, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. So let me just take that line out there. In fact, let me get rid of some of these guidelines because they look a bit confusing when they're all on there. So what we've got here is I want to line up with the outer walls of the sunroom, and it makes sense now to do that on the second step. As you can see, that works nicely. And then the third step, I've suggested that we could wrap that around the sunroom, and it just makes sense here. And the reason is that you're coming out and you can step down here this way and you're going out to there, or you're actually, you know, sort of coming round and out to the back garden. And it would be nice to sort of, you know, just, I can see me, if I was coming, I'd sort of run down, I'd skip one and sort of go down here. And it's nice to have that landing wrapping around rather than just the step ending on the corner. So I'm sort of more pleased with that, actually. I think that works better. And likewise, because you can come out the side of the house and you'd be coming round to the front, again, it makes sense to have a kind of direction of travel wrapping around. Whereas at the back here, for this, you know, it's absolutely fine. We don't need that so much. It's just kind of, you know, straight access out, and that makes sense. But just because this is a kind of return on the side of the house like this, it kind of flows better for me to do it that way. But I've tried to keep the dimensions the same so that it all seems to make sense. So again, the top one will come out 90, exactly the same. And if I've done this right, yes, 45 and 45. That's right, isn't it? I'm going mad. Yes. Let me just check. Yeah, of course. 45. Yeah, 45 and another 45 brings us out a total of 90. So that makes it a total of 180 to the front edge. So they're exactly the same. Steps here and the steps here. The same kind of flow, the same riser height and the same depth. So I hope that's what you were thinking. I think it's a little bit different. We've got 180 deep, but you're thinking 150 deep, 90 plus 60 and 30 after that. So I don't know. I may have got this wrong. I may have confused things, but this seems to work for me. So your thoughts on that would be good. And then we're getting to the point of almost sort of final sign-off, really. But you were interested to know, quite rightly, the depth of patio that you'll be left with. So I'm just going to measure this out for you. So from the bottom step at the back of the house to the far edge here, we've got nearly 4.5 metres. That's a huge expanse there. And then I've staggered it, so we're 377 here, and to this point I'll leave that hovering. If you might want to write these down. Oh, where's it gone? There, 305. Yeah, so that's kind of 3 meters there, but of course here you're avoiding the steps. So here I've put in a table and chairs to scale for 6 people, which fits comfortably. But let's see, from the back of the kitchen window, it's hard to give you a measurement because we've got staggered edges. Roughly, if this was a square, you can see that the sort of square section would be just under 5 meters, which is massive. Unless you want to go for a bigger table and chairs, unless you want to seat 8 or 10, we might be struggling. But and then to the furthest point here, we're out 693, nearly 7 meters. So that is all quite roomy. It might be that you want your furniture the other way around. That might give you a bit more space. You might, I don't know, you might have a circular table and chairs. I mean, that could be positioned in any which way here, and you would have room for your chairs to pull back. Yeah, that might work quite nicely that way, or you could have it over here and you could have more sofa sort of seating here. So however you feel that's going to best suit you. What else can I show you measurements wise? This is not going to be such a pinch point anymore, so the pathway kind of here, let's do a sort of diagonal. That's sort of 3 meters, 293 across there, which I think is a nice comfortable walkway through. We have the wall coming round here, like you said, it doesn't matter what height, but I'll put it in at 70 at the moment, and a nice deep planting bed, so this will feel nice and enclosed here. Let's just take a little diagonal across there, sort of over 2 meters wide there. That might seem like a lot, but I think in the grand scheme of things, yours is such a big garden that we haven't put in this design any island beds. So I really want to make this bed quite deep, which is why I've kind of increased the curve, and it just looked better to me to do that. Okay, so I think that's it really. Woodland path, I've just adjusted a little bit. I've taken this out a little bit further to give us more space around the steps. And yeah, this circle, I think I brought this, I kind of played around with a lot of it. I think the circle I had to bring down a bit to make it all work. We've still got this little path, which I think I see as a gravel path with edgings going towards the summer house, and everything else I think we're agreed on. So yeah, this is getting towards final stages now. Let me know if you've got any more questions or things, or any sort of details that you'd like to have resolved. But really, for me, I'm happy with this now. It's just confirmation on those steps, whether I've got those right for you. Okay, Sandra, feel free to give me a call if you want to chat through anything, or email is fine, whichever works best, and we'll catch up again soon. Take care for now. Bye.